All right, guys. Thank you.
Oh, God. Yeah,
Jesus. Falling apart.
Yeah.
And controlling your mind.
Hey guys, DJ Arvin here, and we're here at Point Blank Music School, and I have a special guest today, Jordan Suckley, and he's going to be showing us his new Tech Trance tune, C.Y.M, which is out now on Who's Afraid of 138, Armin Van Buuren's harder label. So, Jordan, welcome to Point Blank.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you for coming down. So, tell us a bit more about this genre that you produce, Tech Trance.
For me, Tech Trance, it's still got the main part of trance, which is obviously the melody, the chords and everything, but either side of the breakdown, it's got like a more aggressive bass line, tech stabs, and it doesn't necessarily drop with the melody, it'll drop with like a bass line acids or tech stabs.
Is it a bit more like beat oriented?
A bit more beat orientated, groove and percussions and stabs and things, yeah, rather than just like dropping and it's still floaty, it's more
less feels, more beats.
Yeah, more dancey, I'd say. Yeah.
So what about this whole 138 movement that we've been seeing lately? What's that all about?
Yeah, okay, so for me, for the Who's Afraid of 138 movement, it kind of started off the back of the Swedish House Mafia when they were having such huge success a few years ago. And like all the trance producers wanted to kind of replicate that, so they started making more commercial records to try and get on their It's like to do with festivals, you get on the stages, they've got the more commercial guys doing so well on there, so people start replicating that sound. I moved away from trance, but obviously people don't just stop liking that music, do they? So there's like a uprising, a bit of a rebellion of like people like putting hashtags online, Who's Afraid of 138. Someone tweeted Armin saying you should give it a go, Who's Afraid of 138 stage at one of your next festivals, and he gave it a go, and it was absolutely rammed in there. And then after that, we've had Vinny Vici playing on the main stage festivals, playing like the banging 140 Psy Trance and stuff, so it's just grown and grown and grown.
And you look at some of those main stage DJs that normally play house, progressive house, and they'll throw in like a 140 Vinny Vici track or Psy Trance track in there. Everyone wants to get on that hard stage.
Yeah, I mean, we'll just get whatever gets people dancing, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Anyways, let's go and take a look at this project.
Yeah, so I thought rather than going from the very beginning of the track, I'll just show you how I start off my music production process.
Cool.
Always start off with the breakdown. That's the first thing I start off with, because obviously I'm a trance producer, aren't I? Mm-hmm. So literally I was in Ibiza, just about before I was playing Cream Amnesia, because I was on like closing set. So I thought, whilst I'm just sat here waiting, I thought I'd work on some melody ideas. So literally just played this melody. It's quite simple, but you thought, well, you can just get a top line, then you can work on your key changes separately. So that's why I've duplicated the channel down, used a slightly different synth, and then that's where I've worked on the key changes. I like doing these like arpeggiated ones. I feel like it adds a little bit of emotion and groove, and the melody runs along with it. So I literally just mess around with it, play up and down, whatever, to see which key change I thought worked well, within the chord as well. And then it loops back round, so it's still memorable. But you see, I've changed it from the second part here for the end of this loop, so it's like the key changes will make the top line more interesting. Yeah.
So what kind of synth are you using for this?
I think this is Zebra.
Zebra.
It's really got really thick lead sounds in there. Yeah,
that's one I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. So I've done those two layers, and then I thought I needed something else added on top of there. So that's where I've got another counter melody which goes over the top. Just simple, but working with the melody, I just feel like it adds a bit more. Yeah, so you listen from here. Just adds more to it, doesn't it? And then as soon as I got those done there, obviously added in the drones. This is actually a reverse bass from a Silent bank which I had. I always like to have little vocal atmospherics in there, so I've made literally it's got like I searched ethereal vocals. I've got like loads of little packs, and literally just go through them on the keyboard, put it into the right key, and literally just bounce them in. Sometimes I'll stretch it out, put a reverb in there as well. See, just little chops really with some reverb on. You add them into the background. So I feel like when you listen to a track, I want to have a few sounds which kind of take your attention away. You don't just want to listen to the same loop of a melody over and over because it sounds boring. But if you've got a simple catchy melody, you put loads of things around it, it kind of different things take your attention away, don't they?
Just keeps it kind of interesting, really.
Yeah. I love adding little vocals in. I do it every single track. So here for that section, I thought I'd add in a piano again because it's repeated itself. I've added another sound in there with a little reverse on it. We'll see, a little reverse. You can't. It's a small detail. No one can probably even hear it, but I like little reverse stabs.
With the piano, actually, that whole little reverse thing, it's something I always say is like, it's one of those things that when it's not there, sorry, how do you say it?
It's like the devil's in the detail for me.
Yeah.
So I like doing little effects. So this is why this got so many channels. I've got 120 channels.
120 channels.
Yeah, that's because I do like a little reverse, as I say, as we go into the track, I'll show you some of the effects which I make. So basically there's the breakdown. And then with this track, I kind of wanted it to be like a mixture between Tech Trance, but inspired with Psy Trance production. So what I mean by that is like with Psy Trance, it'll build up to a point, and then it'll have a bit of silence, and then it'll have like a stab or a vocal, and then like Vinny Beach's got like a catchy little vocal or something before it drops, and then the bass kind of comes in when you least expect it. So that's kind of the idea, what I wanted to do with this one.
I found, especially with today's modern Psy Trance, is that it just goes down to like almost nothing.
Yeah.
But there's that one element that's kind of just keeps you interested, and then you're just anticipating it the entire time.
It just works. I think it's because of all the frequencies. So it goes down to a thin sound, and then when the kick and bass effort comes in, it's like on a big system that really punches. Yeah. So basically, I've got the breakdown there, and then I've done a tape delay building up with rises and white noises and stuff. I got this little saw here as well. Kind of Scott Project inspired. And then we start tape the laying up. And it just comes down to this one sound. Just this sound. So just that sound by itself. Yeah, so basically that's for the drop. And how I actually got this sound, it's actually from, it's basically from C.Y.M. It's actually like a, I don't know, like a trap lead or something.
Wow. Yeah, that doesn't sound anything like what I would say trance sounds like.
Yeah. So I found that, I thought, wow, that sounds really cool, that. So just the whole track's based around this one little sound that I've chopped up in loads of different ways. So you can hear it's like pitching up here. And then it goes to this. And then I've like chopped it up and had this synth, it's like a effects plugin called Glitch Bitch, but I haven't got my dongle with me now, but yeah, it's like a little plugin, and it just literally just chops up the sound. So what I did is I put it over the top of that C.Y.M. lead, and it's literally just chopped it up, and I've made bass lines out of that throughout the whole of the track.
Cool. I've also noticed with your channels, you call them very interesting things.
Yeah. I basically just cut, I thought rather than going through the project and neating it up, I'd show you exactly what it's like for my music production process.
Have you been using Logic the entire time?
Yeah, from the very beginning, yeah. I use Ableton and stuff for doing mixes and mashups, edits and things like this, but I mean, they all do the same things, so I don't feel compelled to use any of the other ones.
Yeah, to me, it's more of like a workflow thing. I mean, if you're used to using something and you're quick on using that, I mean, there's no point changing.
Okay, so I'll explain how I've made the actual drop. The way I normally do the drops is I'll drop in clean, so it's just a kick and bass, minimalistic sound, because I feel like that really works on the dance floor, and then I'll slowly introduce like percussions, vocal stabs, an acid or something, or sometimes a techie lead stab or something. So that's basically what I've done here. So you can have a look around the bottom. These are that's a stab groove. This is all the bass, and that's the WOM sound there. And then I've introduced the percussion slowly. And then afterwards, I like to go put loads of sounds in there and then go dry. So it'll literally just drop dry. So I'll show you here. So it's all these effects. So, and then introduce loads more percussion. See more stabs down the bottom. And then it leads up to a dry section, just kick and bass again. Be minimalistic. So I feel like that works on the dance floor. And then this is for me, this is where I'd start mixing out, and I'd mix out here. So basically for stab grooves, I'll just go through normal sample banks, but mainly like tech house ones, to be fair, techno, tech house ones, because I feel like they have the darkest, grittiest little sounds. And I'll just flick through them on the keyboard and load it into the EXS24 sampler and just find which ones I like, really. So just make a little groove, just space for each one, and then I'll chop each one of them up. I've got like a vocal that says, I'm controlling your mind. That's what the track's called, C.Y.M, Control Your Mind. And I've actually chopped up the vocal here.
And controlling your mind.
Just chop it up. Do you hear there? I've got like a little echo on it. Yeah, so it's basically this little patch from Logic's Echo.
I feel like with Tech Trance especially, there's a lot of those kind of little glitchy cut up sounds and stuff like that. And that kind of just, but the main part of the song is still the kick bass groove.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll show you some of the effects and stuff which I do here, because I'm really into my effects. Probably one of my favorite parts of the production process. So the same thing again, I'll go through loads of sample packs, find one stab, and I'll reverse reverb into it, or all these kind of different tape delays. So it's got a little reverb there, but then I've done a reverse reverb, so it goes up. There you go, just not showing up on there for some reason, but there you go, you can see it on the back there, reverse reverb in, but that'll lead into another effect. Just like it's a question, I call it question and answer. These are my question stabs, and my answer stabs are afterwards. And there's the answer. There's my answer, if you get what I mean.
It's a lot of effects, like I've just noticed. Like, is that all effects?
Yeah, that's all effects, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can spend all day going through every single one.
Yeah, I mean, my life would probably be easier if I didn't do so many effects, but I feel like the track sounds naked if it's not got effects in there for me.
Right.
I think it's because my music production's inspired by Psy Trance, which is like, for the Psy Trance, it's a kick and a bass and flooded with effects.
Yeah,
so
and all very, very delayed and all that kind of stuff. How long do you spend like perfecting those effects? Like, do you ever think, okay, this is enough?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I spent making the tracks, the easy part, it's like polishing it off and have to go through, like I think, okay, because this, I'd imagine this had loads more channels in the beginning. I'd do this, like put loads of stuff in there, could be up to like 200 channels, end up like deleting until it comes down to the final one. But yeah, I think like when I've actually finished a track and it's like everything's in there, I spend another week just going through it. I'll literally listen to every single channel, what EQ's on there, because sometimes like you've done something and not noticed the volume's dipped by mistake on something. So I'll go through every single channel, and that takes like quite a while, to be fair. Then after that, I'll like test out in clubs and stuff. Fortunately, I DJ every week, so I can got plenty of opportunities to test it out. Sometimes it sounds really bassy in the studio and get in the club and think, oh my God, there's no sub there at all. Yeah, so for my kick and bass, I like to, when I first started off producing, I was like literally putting so many layers in there, too many layers from the same synth as well. Didn't really understand that they obviously phase. So now I literally try and keep it to the bare minimum, really. So yeah, so I've got a kick just again from a sample pack. And then for the bass, I've got a sub. And then I've got like this is from a synth. I want it like do this, so I want it a little bit more rolling. Then I've got
a little bit of that side.
Yeah, I've got this. Got slight stereo imaging on it because it's not the main bass. It's okay. So I've got the subs one. But you always need to get your sub in the center, don't you? Otherwise, it thins out in the club. So it's just got those two layers. Then that mixed with the WAM as well.
I actually noticed you can't really tell that the sub is kind of tripleting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's quite subtle.
Just adds in a little bit more to it. Yeah, I'd say it's just the tiny little details which make the difference overall, isn't it? Once you've got a finished project.
So what do you look for when you're looking for a kick for your tracks?
I think it's because I've been making a style of music. It's always like really thuddy. You need to hear the click on the top of it. Also really needs to punch through. I don't like it to be too long. So the kick's too long, it's going to take up space where the sub needs to be. So sometimes I'll find a kick and I'll shorten it down a little bit, and I'll put another kick on top of it if it's got more of a click, and I'll invert the phase of the kick so it fits on top. You know what I mean? So that as it sounds like it's mixing, you don't want that, do you? So yeah, and I'll bounce that down as an individual kick.
With your kick and bass, obviously you sidechain it.
Yeah. So for sidechain, I just use the LFO tool.
Cool.
And the good thing is with this LFO tool as well, you can do like gates and stuff. So sometimes I'll use it for gating on a trance pad or something. It's a really good little plug-in, this one. Okay, yeah, so after I've done those, as I said before, I like to get all the parts of my track done, the main parts, the breakdown on the drop, and then I'll kind of make a remix of the track from there, so I kind of make my tracks in reverse. So after that, I thought I'd start with the very beginning of the track, just stripped bare, obviously, because not many people hear this version. Even if you put it on Spotify, it's always a radio edit, isn't it? So just very simple. To start from there, and then I started adding loads of percussion loops and stuff. Again, just from sample packs, really. You don't need to be too fancy. Sometimes I'll like literally make my own percussion groove or whatever, but it really depends on the track.
It's crazy to me because a lot of people are so very precious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone uses samples. I don't think people need to be as precious about that. I think if it works,
if you're thinking of a sound and you've got it in a sample pack, why do you need to try and replicate it? It's like unnecessary workload, isn't it, for me, I think. But yeah, so it's got a few little percussion loops and stuff here. Shakers. And we got that hard trance snare there. Yeah, and then I've got a Virus TI2 desktop as well, which I love using. I've had it for years. Just literally sounds to fill out the background, really. These are actually loops in the Virus, which is amazing. It's another tech house bank again. And I've got like all these little transitional effects from the Virus. I think this is from a Kamui pack.
Kamui.
Remember Kamui? Yeah.
Yeah. Are they still around?
I'm not sure, to be fair, but yeah, I used to be a big fan of their production. So yeah, this is
great.
Pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure this is from their bank. So you see, I've done a few different instances of the same sound. Let's just play it with the cut off. And for me, it's like just a transition into the next section. So you see, it starts just before, and then that's where the section will start here. So I do that quite frequently in my tracks. So yeah, so it builds up, got all the percussion and everything, then it comes into the middle section where I take out the kick and then it changes the groove slightly.
And controlling your mind.
Yeah, so I'll just explain what I've done here for you. I say a lot of my tracks, I always do this similar kind of method where it's wet. What I mean by that is it's got loads of sounds in there, and then I'll go clean after that, if you know what I mean, because I feel like it just really works on the dance floor. Loads of percussion, stabs and stuff, and then go completely clean kick and bass. So that's what I've done there, just leading into the breakdown. But I'll show you for the midsection. As I mentioned before, when I got that lead from C.Y.M, I've literally just made a groove of it. And then I've also changed the groove of the bass a little bit as well. Just makes it a little bit more groovy for the dance floor, I found. And then with that as well. And then after that, I've also added in a load of stab groove for the bottom.
And controlling.
Yeah, so for what I like to do as well, I've got I had this one sample which says I control your mind. I've made loads of instances of it here again for the drop.
And controlling your mind.
Just literally that one sample, and I've literally chopped up in loads of little pieces again for the whole of the track, and that's kind of got another theme to it then, something continuous, which is frequently put out throughout the track. Yeah, then after that section, as I said, I like to add some more sounds in, and that's where I've introduced an acid again. It's a simple little pattern. So it's actually got some movement on it already within the synth, hasn't it? You can hear it moving, even though it's just straight on there. So you can see it oscillating slightly.
It's like a little, like flanging sound.
Yeah. Another sound that adds in over the top, isn't it? With the stab groove, the bass, the kick. Adds more into the groove. And that's obviously where I introduced all the percussion and everything all at once here. And there's another acid there as well. Just in the background.
So I noticed you use a lot of different synths. Like so far I've counted 4 already. I've counted C.Y.M, Silent, Massive, and Zebra.
And Spire. And that's
Spire.
That's literally all I'll use them.
Wow, that is a lot for most people. Yeah.
I feel like it's because though each one's kind of got its own texture or sound to it. Like that's why I feel like C.Y.M and Zebra are really good for like your basses or your your subs and things like this, whereas Spy is more like a colourful synth, so it's good for your leads and your acids and things like this.
Do you do a lot of sound design yourself, or do you use a lot of presets?
Yeah, I mean, I've learned all that. Like when I first started off, I was like throwing myself into it, watching hours and hours and hours of YouTube, how to make like a trance lead and stuff. But at the end of the day, they're all the patches there, so I know how to change a patch, or I can make a trance lead bass line from scratch. But a lot of the time, the sounds are already there, you know.
And then you can always just edit it slightly, and then
always edit it,
sound.
the automation obviously and everything, and change it, make it more clicky, put the cut off to the envelope, don't you?
Going through this project with you actually made me notice Tech Trance is kind of like trying to keep the track as minimal as possible, but keeping the listener interested the highest full time.
Yeah, I say for me, it's just to get people dancing. That's the whole idea for it. As I told you, like I have like sections where it's just clean kick and bass, could get them dancing, then like build up, then clean kick and bass again. Just gets everyone dancing and stuff. I
mean, that's kind of just how Psytrance kind of got big as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole dropping down to nothing and then all of a sudden kick bass and everyone just goes wild.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like kick and bass is the most essential core part of dance music, and it works just so well. So now that you've finished the track, with the mastering and stuff, do you do it yourself, or do you send off to a mastering engineer? Or
no, I just do it all myself. Yeah. Once the track's finished, I'll spend a week going through every single channel, so kind of doing the mix down and mastering at that stage. And on the master strip, you don't really need anything, I don't think. It's just like more of a volume issue, maybe some EQing. But I've got this, bought this Ozone 8, and you can use a master assistant, so you can load in a track. You can use it as a reference track. So like, say, I don't know, like a Mark Sherry track or something, who's a really good producer, load in one of his tracks and it'll show you his EQ settings, and you can match it to that. Wow. You don't have to like, do it identical, because your track's going to be different, but you can use it as a starting point to like get.
So it analyzes their track.
Yeah. So analyze it for you. You see, it's got like dips and stuff here, because it thought I might want to be in a similar situation. It needs to do these dips here, but I tend to close them down a little bit or lift up or whatever. It doesn't need to be too extreme. And then I'll put like some of the maximizer on it, kind of just levels it out a little bit more.
Is that like a compressor? Or?
Yeah, just like boost up the volume essentially. Yeah, it's like a compressor. And then on the final, I'll just use this invisible limiter. I think it's like £30 or something, but it's absolutely incredible. Really, really, really good limiter. And then I try to keep it simple. But also in the Ozone pack, use this tonal balance. So it'll show you your frequency should be within this range. That's, again, I've used a Mark Sherry track as a reference one, just for this specific one. It'll show you, depending on what section of the track, what frequencies are poking through. So it doesn't need to be like that all the whole way, but it at least gives you a starting point. So I'll show you now. So as you can see, that it's got like the sub lines up there. So it's fitting within the spectrum of the track, which is a finished, mastered, released track.
And that's just a analyzer, right?
Yeah, just an analyzer. Yeah.
When you're making a track, do you mix as you go?
Yeah. But I think it's because I have so many effects and stuff in there, it's like really time consuming to mixing the track. But yeah, I tend to do it as I'm doing it, yeah. Because I've travelled so much now, I have to make my tracks on my laptop. So a lot of the time I'm just using the laptop speakers, I'm not going to lie, just to get the ideas down. And then when I get home, I'll finish it when I get home to my studio. So for my mastering, once I've actually finished the track, I'll listen to it in the car, on my phone, stereo, laptop, and literally every kind of possible way I can kind of listen to the track. And I've got like a list of on my phone. Raise the hi-hat, this is too loud here, crash is coming, there's a click here. Because sometimes with Logic, when you've got like doing the automation page, you have like a little node. You see all these little nodes here. If it's at the start of a sample, sometimes it'll have a click when you're bouncing the track out. Even though this is a new laptop, that's just how it is, unfortunately. So I have to listen out for them. So literally listening in the car, I'm listening to so much detail just for a little click, because once the track's released, it's out there forever, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't want to be out there and thinking there's a click coming up in a second. So
and no one's gonna notice it, but you are gonna notice it every single time. So for people out there watching that want to make trance music, stuff like that, what is like an essential plugin you reckon that people need, or what do you recommend for the new beginner? Okay, for a new beginner, I'd say Spy is probably the best one. Best all-round synth. It's got really nice metallic sounds for the basses, loads and loads of acid sounds. So Spy is the way to go? Yeah, so this is like my go-to synth when you're getting started. Also, this is amazing. Like, I didn't know this was a thing. Yeah, the new MacBook Pros have this touch bar, and then because Logic is actually made by Apple, you can actually just integrate that in there, and you've got a MIDI keyboard. Ideal. Yes. Ideal for flights and stuff in hotels. If you don't want to carry a MIDI keyboard around with you, you can literally play the little melodies on there. And especially if you're using the EXS24 sampler, you just load all the samples and it'll load up onto the piano roll. So much easier now. I think that's probably what sold me the laptop when I first saw it. surprisingly, like, very little latency.
Yeah, very little. I mean, there's a tiny little bit there, obviously, but yeah, it's really good. But yeah, so say for the go-to synth for people just getting started, I'll say start with Spire, and I wouldn't even bother buying anything else just to get started. I won't buy a synth now until I've watched loads of YouTube videos on how to use it. So I wanted to buy the synth, load it in, I want to know how to use it straight away.
So what about sample packs? Like?
Sample packs, yeah, I try to keep away from trance ones if I'm honest with you, because as I say, that's what everyone has, apart from I've used the Dave Parkinson one for like percussions and crashes and stuff. They're like the background sounds, aren't they? You have crashing and stuff. But for basses and things like and tech stabs, I'll try and look for different music genres, because I feel like they're going to have different sounds to what you're used to hearing.
All right, thank you guys for watching again, and thank you, Jordan Suckley, for coming along. So if people want to find out more about your music and more about yourself in general, what can they go and look for?
Yeah, just search my name, Jordan Suckley. I'm on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, all the usual places, YouTube, and if you want to find my music, Spotify.
Cool, and with this track, it's out now on Who's Afraid of 138, so go and check that out. Or just go on Spotify. Spotify's good.
So good.
All right, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And of course, please make sure to check out pointblankmusicschool.com if you want to learn more about music production, such as Logic Pro X, Ableton Live. We teach all that stuff here. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram and check out that YouTube channel. Subscribe. See you guys next time. DJ Irving out. And Jordan Suckley out.